So we're doing the air conditioning on this Honda in the rain, as you can see, and all conditions are not perfect. It's winter time in San Francisco, and what is it like to look at air conditioning in the winter time, especially if you had the diagnosis? Well, this is the temperature, and you can see by the this is the pressure, and you can see by the pressure it's cycling like crazy. That's because it's only 58 degrees outside. I believe it's 45 to 42 degrees coming out of the dash. 43 degrees. Yeah, with my gloves on. Oh, there is 41. Okay, I'm right. 40. 40.9, 41. And let's see if it gets up to 45, 44. Yeah, I was close enough, and that was judging by my hand with gloves on. So this is what it looks like charging a vehicle in the rain. You'll get a lot of cycling. It's really cold outside. And if we look at our temperature, you can see every time the clutch cycles off and the refrigerant flow shuts down, goes up to 43 degrees. So it's hovering between 43 and 41 degrees at the low sides. Let's talk about this. So I had a situation going back some years when I was younger, because when I was younger and I started my business, I was in my 20s. And I remember going to shops, especially one particular shop had I had a van. It was a Chevy van, orifice tube, accumulator system, and it was like 54, 55 degrees outside, and it was on a Chevy van. And when I delivered it to the body shop, one of the older guys, of course, who were like 30 years older than me, goes, "Oh, you didn't charge it right. It's cycling." Now, anybody who knows anything knows that 50 some degrees, your clutch, you're on an orifice tube system, so it goes by the pressure on the cycling clutch switch back then, and it's going to cycle if it's cold. And he goes, "Oh no, it shouldn't cycle that much. It's undercharged. You need to put more refrigerant in there." And we had a spit and spat back and forth. Now remember, I'm only in my 20s. I was like this when I was at, I go, you don't know what you're talking about. I go, it's cold outside, so the refrigerant doesn't expand. There's no heat load over the evaporator. That was way over his head. All he knew is that you keep adding refrigerant until you hit 150 psi. And so I left, and then, the owner actually came out and was kind of siding with the guy who has 30 years more experience than me, because we all know guys who have 30 years more experience, of course, has to be right. So push comes to shove, I got paid. I tell you, this is how it's supposed to be. Well, apparently the guy got more cans of refrigerant and kept squirting them in there until he got his 150 psi, until it stopped cycling. Now, this is in the winter. We're in the 50 degree mark. And I got a call back one of the service managers who says, "Oh, you know what? That guy, the other mechanic who had 30 years more experience, he was right, because he was able to add more cans of refrigerant into the car to get the high side pressure up, and he stopped it from cycling." So what did he just do by stopping that vehicle from cycling on an orifice tube system in 50 some degree weather? He grossly overcharged it until the low side went up high enough it could no longer cross. So what do you think is going to happen to that van when summertime? Now this is in wintertime, so when summertime comes around, that customer has all that extra refrigerant in the system. What's going to happen on the first 75, 80 degree day when that customer hits on? What's going to happen to his high side? Exactly. Anybody who knows anything knows exactly what's going to happen. And this is the kind of shit I had to put up ever since I was in my early 20s, teens, in every shop I worked with. These old fossil SOB, low-life, scum-sucking pieces of shit who have 20, 30 more years of experience than I did, always telling me what was right about a certain pressure or temperature they had to do, and they're always screwing up customers' cars. And the one common thing was the car would leave their shop working, because at the time, and the way they filled it up at that time in temperature, it was working at that time. But they were the same people who said, oh, compressors only last 3, 4, 5 years and you have to keep replacing them. Anybody who says compressors only last 3, 4, 5 years or 50 or 60,000 miles, you have to fire that SOB. That is one dumb motherfucker. Excuse the language, but those are the pieces of shit in this industry that make the whole industry look bad, and they educate younger guys and make them just as stupid as they are. We have to educate, everybody has to bring their level up, but we have to get rid of the pieces of excrement in this industry that make our whole industry look bad to the customers, and improperly train young guys as they come into this trade. It's all about education, or get the hell out. I am not afraid to say it, and now, like I did then, I would back talk to my owners of the company, my service managers, and other technicians who had 20, 30 more years of experience than me. Now I'm an old fart fossil myself, and I tell old farts to go F off and die. Yeah, I don't like thieves, I don't like criminals, I don't like those who lie to customers, and I don't like those who intentionally stay ignorant intentionally and then are stubborn and rely on what little knowledge they have and what little experience. Even though their experience was 30 years long in their trade, they still don't know what they're doing after 30 years, and there's no excuse for that. And thank God for YouTube and Wikipedia and Google, because now technicians have no excuse for not looking up the proper information and reading the manuals. All right, guys, my pet peeve for today. This rain and this coldness just brought back a memory of a very particular body shop who is went out of business, matter of fact, and a very good reason why. Many reasons why. And see you guys later. Enjoy your day. It's a beautiful rainy day in San Francisco.